Hello, we are the Superconscious Sisterhood. We're a group of female coaches working with women from all over the world. We work to empower our clients to create a life they love, become the predominant creator in their own lives, step into their true nature and purpose, and live in health and vitality. In this podcast, I talk all things superconscious every week with the other coaches, and sometimes I'll have other guests too. So join us as we cover life, love, motherhood, monthly hormones, and we talk how to discover what you actually want in life, how to take action, and everything else in between. This is episode 1, where I talk with Bree, the director of Superconscious Sisterhood. Thanks for listening. So, hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks. Thanks for joining me today to talk about the Superconscious Sisterhood. I'm really interested to just find out a bit more about how it all started and just what kind of intuitive messages came through for you to put it all together and, yeah, just find out a little bit more about what's it all about. Um, so my first question is, what is the Superconscious Sisterhood?
So the Superconscious Sisterhood is a ongoing but a 12-month container for women, like visionary women who know they have more to give in this life, who have those big, beautiful dreams and aspirations that live in their heart, to let go of their limits, of their blocks, of any unconscious shit, for lack of a better word, so they can actually have the things that they desire. A little bit of background for anyone who's never heard of us or what it is that we actually do. We're 5 coaches, all certified in magnetic mind coaching, where, yeah, we all have the beautiful tools where we can guide people into choosing what it is that's actually true for them in their hearts, noticing, where they are right now, bringing up all of that resistance, and then utilizing the superconscious rapid recode, which I don't think we'll go into too much today, but it'll definitely be something that, someone will discuss soon down the line, to let go of that stuff, because we are these powerful beings that aren't rigid and stuck and trapped by our experiences from being a little person, which most of us are probably experiencing at the moment. Most of us are women who are 20, 30, 40, 70 years old, living through that emotional experience of 2, 3-year-old us, so it's like we're completely, God, I don't know how like explicit we want to go, but completely cock blocking ourselves from actually having the things that we want because of those beliefs that we created as a little person. So yeah, that's what the Superconscious Sisterhood is: a space for women to shed the layers, shed the shit, and finally claim everything that they choose and love and desire.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I like that. I've been using the phrase dick swinging a lot lately, so, so where
Love
people
it.
just let their egos get in the way of actually finding what the truth is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many levels as to why women aren't living their truth. It's like our conditioning, societal pressure, this, that, the check boxes that should be and how it is and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, in sisterhood, we let go of all of that and we just come back to love and heart and truth.
Oh, I really love it. Um,
Loves it so much you're gonna choke on it.
yeah, I know. Um, okay, so that was a really great answer, and I really love the passion. Um, can you tell me a little bit, please, about what was I think you did you did touch upon it already, but why was it set up specifically for you? What was it that resonated with setting something up like this for you?
Great question. So um I have been in magnetic mind coaching, as we all have been, all of us coaches, and I loved that container. I loved how it was set up, but I still found that there was a missing piece of harnessing feminine wisdom, the cyclical powers of being a woman. And I really love, I guess, the structure of Magmind, the way that there's multiple coaches, there's multiple sessions a week, everything's there. And so, yeah, there was a part of me for a really long time. I've always known that I've wanted to serve and help people. And yeah, I'm sure you'll hear a little bit later on my journey as to how I got here. But I've tried different things. I've been certified in all different types of modalities. But when I found Magmind coaching, I was like, okay, this is it for me. If anyone doesn't know, I'm a mother and I choose to be very present with my daughter. I don't choose to, send her to daycare or anything like this. And the intuition that came to me was a women's group with multiple coaches. The number 5 just felt right to me. Yeah, and it was this big, strong download that really came to me about like, you get to be that missing piece for women to integrate this incredible coaching modality that we have, and also bring in all of your other knowledge and wisdom and other women's knowledge and wisdom about being a woman and how we can use our unique femininity to actually enhance our manifesting ability. And so, yeah, it just kind of really dropped in. It was like, okay, this is what's happening. Like me now trying to recall, well, how did you come up with this idea? It was like, it's just always been there, but it finally like solidified. And I think the creation of this actual group is the most beautiful testament to the work that we do, because there was all these reasons as to why I shouldn't have been able to make this work. If you're going to go into your limiting beliefs, it was like, well, I don't have a big financial backing. I don't have all of this time. I don't know where the coaches are coming from. There's no way that I can pay them, blah, 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 all this shit. But when I dropped into that end result of me having this beautiful global sisterhood of fully expressed women, the obvious action was to, reach out to the coaching community that is our certified Magmind coaches and say, hey, I'm looking for some woman coaching. This is my vision. And, we magnetized some incredible women like Kelly, you're here. We've got Galit, we've got Ifga, we've got Debbie, who are all of these amazing coaches. And you guys are all invested in the long-term vision as well. So it's just, I think that's kind of how it came together. But I think it's also a massive celebration to watch that this is the work in action. This is how creation happens when you let go of limitations, when you let go of like, well, it needs to be like this, this, and this, and this. It's like, well, can you hold that beautiful vision that you have? And can you take the obvious action, even if it seems absolutely bonkers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And there are times as well where you can really see that it starts to become a co-creation, because everyone has the best interests of growing this at their hearts. But that's a testament to you starting and bringing all these people in.
Yeah, I think,
Well, the women.
like you said, it is a beautiful weaving of everyone. It was like, okay, I have this vision, and now that we have those 5 different essences and energies of you incredible coaches, it's like, well, now this is going to become our creation. Like, yes, it was I planted the seed, but now, we've got 5 trees that are growing, and we're weaving them into this like incredible multi-tree. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I love watching where it's going, and I could never have imagined some of the things that have already been created, and it's only been what, like 4 months. Like, what's going to be happening in 4 years, in 10 years? It's going to be
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, because if you think about it, there's so much material that we've already created in just that 4 month time. But it's for like, certainly for me, and I'm sure I'll talk about it a different time, it's been such a journey of growth already. And I can see the same with, the other coaches. And it's almost like by bringing us all together, there's an empowerment and a confidence that comes out of it. And we even if we don't feel fully, um, because a lot of people just don't start until they feel that they are completely ready. They hold back because of their sabotaging beliefs, don't they?
Yeah.
So it's great that
Yeah, and I think
we
like
have that
solo
support to do it.
entrepreneurship. Yeah, sorry for talking over you, but yeah, that's what I was actually speaking to a beautiful lady yesterday about it. Like feminine solo entrepreneurship really, I don't think is congruent with if you want to live cyclically and you want to be in that. Whereas, like for us, you know, like everyone's at different spaces in their cycle. Some people, you know, the unconscious stuff does come up and we fall a little bit into that, but someone else is always taking action. So it's like that train's always rolling on. We're still always there. And then, you know, we've got five of us to keep each other in. And yeah, I think it's the most beautiful way to create.
Yeah,
And
I think so.
I know
Agree.
yeah, in the past for me, it's definitely been that, you know, the resistance will come up and then just because it's only been me, it's so easy to fall off the bandwagon, but there's no way that we can fall off because someone's always holding it down.
Yeah, that's true. And I think I think if you look at society over the last like couple of hundred, maybe thousand of years, there has been certainly over the last 500 years, there has been a move away from communities that are led by women intuitively and communities that where women have more, you know, helping each other and stuff like they do in quite a lot of communities in the world still, but not necessarily in our Western civilization.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure
And
I could talk about that for
can we
ages.
see how that's kind of impacted our whole world?
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
people are starting to
It's
wake up, and I think, you know, it's pretty obvious when you're in it how it's just right and it makes sense. And, you know, it's one of those other things, you know, we've been conditioned to think that it has to be solo and that's how it works. And like, I guess to like level it onto my own life, it's like that can be reflected in parenting and the way that we, you know, choose to live and all of these things. And yeah, I guess it comes back down to, yeah, trusting your intuition and just going with it. But I do believe that there are universal truths, and I think that like being surrounded by community, whether you know, like we're an online community, so it's a weird time because here we are in this modern society, craving connection, craving community, and also having the ability to like right now, I'm in Australia, you're in the UK, and here we are,
yeah,
and for me that still is filling my, you know, need for like-minded connection. It's just a different
yeah,
way. So it's like it's so interesting. There's so many levels, there's so many nuances. Um, yeah, but for us, that was just what felt right. Hey, just creating that space. And we've created a
yeah,
really cool little community that's not going to
yeah.
be little for long.
That's true. And it's enjoyable as well because you can see within the group the way that people help each other, not just us as the coaches, but there is a community spirit that is coming through, you know, and that's lovely to see how that's going. So long may it
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah,
But
100%. Oh, yes. I feel like I could go on a rabbit, like on a massive tangent with that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to let you answer, ask your next question.
well, okay, yeah, I was just thinking. So I mean, oh, this is a good question. I really like this one. So well, let's go with what led you to this work because that leads nicely into the question around tell me more about yourself. So what first led you to this type of modality?
So I've always, and I guess it's probably from a limited, like a wounded perspective, always wanted to like help people, fix people. I'd always been drawn to like talking to the wounded men and the like even when I was a teenager, like the wounded boys and like saying like you can do this and like blah blah blah. And like always I was like a life coach from the time I was like 12, you know, it was like that felt good for me. But knowing now, you know, how we have those wounded identities and how we're trying to prove something, I know that that's probably from that place of not being good enough. But for me, like, that has been a passion forever. But at the same time, I was always
Oh
a
no, my
sports,
internet.
and so it was really weird. And I used to think like,
Oh, you might have to
your
do that
internet's
bit
playing up.
again. My internet went. And I went. You went. I was always. And then it was
So yeah,
talk about.
I was always feeling a bit confused because I was this like highly competitive, super sporty person, driven, like motivated. And then I was like this hippie, la la, floaty person who wanted to help everyone and just wanted world peace and all that. And I'm like, how does that fit together? And also, like, at the end of the day, I succeeded massively in rugby sevens. So it's like quite a violent sport. And I'm like, how do these two parts of me fit together? Who is my truth? Anyway, long story short, I ended up rupturing a disc in my neck. I had career-ending surgery, had a massive identity crisis in my mid-20s, and for a while I wallowed in self-pity, and then I actually started to realize that this was the most beautiful opportunity that I'd ever had, because I'd never known who I was without sport. I'd never had the chance to actually think about what is it that I love to do. And so I chose to completely deconstruct myself, like tear myself down to the bottom and then build myself back up the way that I wanted to be. And that was a cool journey. And I really liked that. It was like just self-discovery and like playing with like identities and all of these things. And it was so much fun. And I really found a passion for doing that. And I wanted to be able to help others do that too. So I originally got certified in holistic wellness coaching. And that was cool. I found every time I started to try to coach, there was a part of me that just felt like I was re-traumatizing people, because we'd set all these beautiful goals, we'd do all this stuff, we'd bring up all the shit, and then I was like, well, what now? Like, there was nothing, there was no way to move past. And then I think I went on my own journey, and I realized I had a lot of blocks around relationships, and I ended up, yeah, in a relationship and feeling a lot of stuff around that. And then it's so funny how, you use your own stuff as to what you study. And then I started studying sex and relationship coaching. And the same thing happened. I got to the end and I'm like, well, I still feel like I'm doing the same stuff to even more of a degree, because sex and relationships brings up so much trauma. And then I'm like, okay, this is just all up in their stuff. And now they just feel like shit. And I don't have something that's actually, how do I get rid of that? Like, how can we shift that? Um, and then I eventually came across Chris Duncan and his Magnite Mind work, and it all just clicked. I was like, this is the missing piece, the superconscious recode, learning how to actually teach our body to let go of the past. That's it. Like, it doesn't matter if I want to help people, find out their truth, or if I want to help people in their sex and their relationships. I know I have that beautiful tool now. Like, this is how we do it. Choose what you want, notice where you are, bring up the stuff, use the recode, take aligned action. Like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's good.
Um,
I
yeah,
like
so
that
that's how I kind of fell into it.
because
And
you were looking for something extra, but there wasn't like in-depth counseling and
well, even
um
I knew how to do the in-depth counseling, but what I was seeing, it was like, to me, talk therapy makes no sense, because you're just
yeah,
reiterating the same stuff, which just brings it up into your experience, and you're feeling it and you're crying, but then it's like, it's just there and it feels shit. And you're like, okay, so is this serving anyone? Are you able to move past it? What I could experience from the way that it was happening, no. People were just bringing up all their stuff and it was just sitting there. And I'm like,
yeah.
this, there's a missing part. And then, yeah, Magmine just completely, it was like the missing puzzle piece.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, for me, I was like, this is it for me. And also the way that it impacted my own life. Like, I used to be a lifeguard. When I did my study originally, I quit that job because I wanted to go all in on coaching. And then my unconscious self-sabotage came up and I did nothing. And I would convince myself that I was doing all these things and I was learning and I was becoming the woman I needed to be. But the truth was I doing what I actually wanted to do? No. So yeah, it wasn't until I found Magmind coaching that I actually let go of my own shit as well, so I could step into doing what I loved. So like it was like the whole proof is in the pudding, like I'd done all these coaching things and nothing was actually shifting because I was applying it to my own life. And then I found something and I was like, whoa, this works. This is what I want to share with the world.
Yeah, it's like the recode is that extra bit just to get you into that place where you start and you taking your action every day, and then
Yeah,
eventually that becomes a habit. It's almost like you need, um, nothing's a magic pill, in my opinion, but it really does help you shift
100%.
from my own experience, because I've done talking therapy, and it was only this work that really started to address some of the things that I didn't even know I was holding on to.
Yeah,
And I'm
100%.
I'm a massive overthinker, so I thought about everything. So, you know, so,
Yeah. And I think the most powerful thing is like you don't have to intellectualize it. You don't have to understand it because it's not working in that self-conscious aspect of you. You're tapping into actually, where is it in your body? Where is it? It's like that.
yeah,
It's almost like body work without body work. And it's more than body work because it works on all levels of your consciousness. And um, I feel like people need to understand what the recode is, but tune in next week because that's what you can get to hear about.
yeah. I think that we definitely will cover the recode in more depth, because um, there's a lot to go into to explain how the process works, isn't there? I like the field.
Definitely.
Yeah, don't want to give too much away. So,
Keep you
too
eager
early.
to keep listening.
Yeah. So, I really love that. I love that your journey, your personal journey of transformation, finding something that really works for you, and then wanting to share that with the world. And we all have our stories where we go through our dark night of the soul, or our big life changes that then lead us on this journey, that then very often people then become people wanting to serve and help others, don't they? So, well,
Yeah.
yeah, such a great journey. So, could you tell me a little bit more about yourself? Where do you live now, and how did you get there? Like, I know that you've done a lot of work to manifest the life that you have already, which is amazing. So, I just want to know more about that, and how,
Yeah.
and that feeds into knowing about you, feeds into the work as well. So,
Yeah. So we currently live, my partner, myself, and our 2-year-old little girl, and our dog, and our 5 chickens. We live on a little off-grid property in the bush of Magnetic Island, which is a really beautiful tropical island in North Queensland. Yeah, we live on this
I can see
incredible
it behind
space
you.
of
It looks amazing.
yeah, you can probably hear the cockatoos at the moment. There's koalas everywhere. It's a very magical place. I literally just got back from having a swim and we went for a hike this morning. And so yeah, for me, for a really long time, even before I knew this work, I have been asking, or praying and wishing, but now we know how to just manifest the things that we want. A home in the bush near the ocean. And yeah, I made this happen. And what else? More about me. Like I said, I come from a very different background. People who meet me now, and sometimes I just like just to shock them, I'm like, oh yeah, I used to play professional sport. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. Um, we all have many lives, and I think when we live in our conditioning, when we live in our should do life, it can be completely different to who we are in our truth and in our heart. And so for me, yeah, it's my life and who I am and what I do and what I love is all about just living from my heart, which is a really slow life. My life is centered around being a mother, and I do choose to be, an entrepreneur and a businesswoman on top of that, but I choose to do that in a way that feels good for me. there's no part of me that is willing to push away being a mum and being with my daughter all the time. And as Kelly knows, you know, OC comes along to our meetings when my partner's away at work. OC is just a part of it all, which I think is such a beautiful thing to instill in her, and to know that, you know, I don't always have to separate her from things when I want to be doing things and building things for myself. You know, she is part of my life. She's a part of everything that I do. And yeah, at the moment right now, like I can hear OC and Zen playing inside, like they're having a really beautiful time. And so, yeah, a bit about me. I just am in love with the life that I'm creating. There's definitely so much more for me to manifest, but I'm obsessed with the life that I have right now. My relationship has completely transformed due to this work and due to letting go of some really big past stuff. Yeah, it's just, I guess for me, it's like the things that live in my heart now live right here with me. They're not just little dreams that live here anymore. It's like they're there. I've got this beautiful community, created, you know, an online community too, but community in person. We hang out with really beautiful families, and life is just dictated by when I wake up in the morning. What do I want to do? What do I want to create? How do we, where do we find our joy? And I know that's your next question, but like it really is like led by joy, by love. And then whenever OC's asleep, here's me jamming and cramming and doing as much business stuff as I possibly can. And for me, like that's a sacrifice that I'm so willing to make, because I think I see so many mothers that sacrifice their dreams because they have a family, or so many mothers who sacrifice their family to fulfill their career dreams. But I know that there's another way. I know that you can do both. And that's what I'm choosing to do. I'm choosing to be a completely present mum, and completely be, you know, the weird mum, the mum who's like not willing to separate, not doing this, like if like pretty keen on like no school, like that's my, I guess, part. But obviously at the same time, OC gets to be her own person, so if she chooses she wants to go to school, anyway, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But, and then finding those pockets that I have to create the other dream in my heart, which is changing the world and creating a space for women to live their dreams. And it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah, and I think that's really great. And it's it just goes to show you that you know, where you are focused on what you want to create, you can find a harmonious, intuitive way of doing it.
Yeah, and I
Let
think
me just
that comes back to the work, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
you're right. I just, yeah, it comes back to letting go of those limiting beliefs and just choosing those things that you love and letting them be their own creations, like having that creation of me choosing to be a conscious and, you know, present mum, and then also having that choice of me choosing to be, you know, the woman who is creating these beautiful movements. They don't have to be intertwined. It's like when I choose this, I focus on this. When I'm in this, I'm doing that. And so I guess going to another level, you know, it's like learning and dropping into your intuition and dropping into your superconscious, because, you know, you find the obvious action, but also learning, you know, that whole 80-20 rule of like, what is the 20%? What is the stuff that I must do, instead of just doing the fluffy stuff, because I don't have 8 hours a day, you know, like everyone else. I'm like trying to cram doing everything into 2 hours. So what is this actions that are actually going to move the needle? What are the things that must happen now, that don't just feel good for action's sake? So yeah.
Yeah, they're not like, yeah, I know what you mean. They are with they will be positive actions that really do make a big difference in the scheme of things, rather than I designed a cover for my podcast. You know, I haven't yet, but you know.
Yeah, yeah. They have to be. They
For
have to
example.
be the other ones, otherwise they just sit going nowhere.
Yeah, like actually starting, I guess. So it's just that, just making a start. So when you think about life, I mean, it sounds like you've really already given a really good breakdown of this, but what would you say in the biggest thing in your life outside of family, because that's like a given that they often bring joy, and it sounds like they really do for you. But what gives you joy, the most joy in your life? Out of,
Oh, I love this. Cliche answer, but I think it changes, especially, being a cyclical being.
Mhm.
There are so many, I guess, different ways that I experience joy. And for me, asking myself, like, what is it like being in that end result? This is a life that I love. And then asking, how can I feel that today? That is for me the best way for me to experience joy, because I'm meeting myself where I am, instead of like me logically thinking, okay, I've got this list that's like, I love dancing. So it's like I force myself to do it, which I do
Yeah,
love dancing. You know that I love a good kitchen booty, but for example, at the moment, like I'm premenstrual, and so I am feeling and craving something slower and not so vibrant and big energy. And so today we went on a really
yeah,
beautiful nature walk, which was beautiful, and that brought me so much joy. But like, yeah, for example, like when I'm ovulating, I love to dance. And I'm actually, this is such a funny thing, and I
yeah,
like
I
am
do
really,
actually.
yeah, like I've been doing like dance fitness in my little living room with some weights, and I've been having so much fun with that, like bringing back the joy into exercising. That's been a whole journey for me. um
Mm.
but yeah, really simple things for me, like going for a walk out in nature, making time to actually stop and look at things, watching Osi, like that brings me the most amount of joy ever. Just being in her world. The things that she says is so freaking funny.
Yeah,
Um,
they are.
Honestly, the list of things that bring me joy is very endless. Like even just sitting here having a conversation with, with like-minded people, with speaking about this work, like I can feel my heart's like, it's like excited because this is what I love. This is my passion. Um, I really do believe that there's joy to be found in every moment, even like
Yeah.
even in the hectic, the ones where you think you're bogged down. If you can stop and be like, where can I find the joy? Like what? Or ask yourself, how can I make this moment fun? Or how can I, what can I bring out of this moment? There's always, I believe, an opportunity for joy or for some good feeling.
Yeah, because you can choose, you can, at first, when you first start this work, you might not believe it, but you can choose how you want to feel.
Yeah, I want to give an example of that. The other day, obviously wanted to go to the beach, and we were going to get in the car, and I'm not like, we don't do power over, so I'm not into forcing her to do things, but she really like was playing and she didn't want to get in her car seat, and she kept like running, like walking in all the different parts of the car and like wouldn't get in her car seat, and I was getting really frustrated, and I'm very open, pardon, with her, and I was just saying, Baba, I'm feeling really frustrated right now. Like, if you're not willing to get in your car seat, like, we just can't go to the beach. And I was feeling myself getting more and more and more and more and more agitated. And the parenting style that we do, it's like aware parenting. It's like, can you bring the play? Can you make it fun? And I just stopped for a moment. I was like, I can stay in this. I can stay in this frustration. I can stay in this like fighting, or I can just pull my shit together and I can make this fun. So I'm like, okay, obviously, like, do you want to go in a rocket ship? And like, we did this big, like, like, and I
Yeah.
lifted her up into the sky. And then I'm like, the car's the rocket ship. And then I like put her in her car seat, and she was so willing. And she just sat in her seat and let me buckle her up. And then we like drove to the beach listening to rocket ship music. And it was so much fun. And it's just such a like perfect example of how you get to choose. Like I could have stayed in the frustration. I could have been like, nah, stuff it. We're staying home, and being like grumpy and
Yeah, yeah.
sulky. Like been there. But it literally just took me 1 minute to be like, where do you want to be in this moment? Like, can you choose fun? And I
Yeah.
chose it, and the whole trajectory of my whole day changed.
Yeah, because a lot of parents, and I remember what my mum was like, would be like, just go effing get in there, Kelsey, I'm gonna whoop you or whatever. And then
Yeah,
they just get really stressed and really angry. And then by the time we got to the beach, it'd be really miserable. Or if they were trying to enjoy it, it'd be forced because they'd still be
yeah,
feeling guilty for getting so angry and reacting in such a way. So yeah, that
yeah,
sounds like such a better way to deal with it rather than letting your day just be crappy. Just because
yeah. And
the
I think
2-year-old
that's,
wanted to have fun. That's all she wanted to do was have fun.
yeah, and it's nothing to do with me, but we just make it all about ourselves. And I think that's in everything. You don't have to be a parent to use that example in yourself. It's like when you notice yourself really getting in the shit, it's like, can you stop and ask yourself, like, how can I bring the fun? What can I do right
Yeah.
now? Feels joyful. Like, it might be a dance break. It might be, can I go scream into my pillow for 2 seconds and like get that shit out and like start fresh? Yeah, I think it's just like having that, I guess, first of all, a bit of self-awareness and then that self-inquiry and then yeah, just really powerfully choosing because you're not like you're not a victim to your feelings. You're actually the predominant creator, as we know in
Yeah.
this work. You might not believe that right now, but the truth is you are. Like you might be thinking, wow, Brie, that sounds like something that I could never do, but you definitely can. It might not be right now, but there's definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah, you
accessible.
can. I mean, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I agree that you can. It's just how you frame it. Do you want to feel like so miserable and angry and upset at that person that cut you up because they cut you up, and how dare they? Or when they're never even going to know that you were annoyed because you'll never see them in your life again? Or do you just want to let it go?
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. It's like,
you know,
what do you choose? Do you want to sit
yeah,
in that? Like, does that, and the truth is, like, a lot of us are in our victim, and that feels really comfortable to sit in that, like, woe is me. Oh my God, the world is against me. And I get that, but we can let that go too. Um, but yeah, that's for me, that's what it comes down to again and again and again. Like, how do you actually want to feel? Like, I know
yeah.
me, like, I 100% want to feel the joy and the love 100
Mm.
times more than I want to feel frustration. So it's like, oh, why don't I just choose that?
Yeah, yeah. And when you frame it like that, it sounds easy, but it takes practice, I think. It takes practice.
Oh,
And all
definitely.
I mean, and being a woman as well, I do notice that certain times of the month I will always get really, 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 really irritated or ratty or overly emotional and crying on at least 1 or 2 days. And the other
Yeah.
day just before, usually it's just before I'm due to start, and I go, I think I say to myself, why am I feeling like this? And then I realize, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, it's about the right time. That's why I'm
Yeah.
feeling so miserable all of a sudden, because everything else seems like it's going really well, and then all of a sudden I'm just like really miserable for no reason. And my
Yeah.
dog was trying to lay on me and just have a cuddle, and it was just really irritating me. I just wanted her to go away. And there was no
Yeah.
rational reason behind it. But I soon shook it off. But it's just another example of why doing this work can be so helpful to um, get away from having to be a slave to your hormones and emotions all the time.
Yeah. And also, like, how can we work with it? Like understanding. And I think that's another thing that, we want to bring more to this sisterhood because there is, I guess, still like a quite a masculine ideation and way of teaching and the coaching that we've been taught. But like, for example, knowing your cycle and knowing that you are potentially, and this is all example, not everyone has the same kind of experience with their
Mm.
cycle, but when you're ovulating, you might be feeling more energized, more this, that. You're more of a go-getter, you're more in that space. So knowing that, okay, I've got some big stuff that I need to get done. I'm going to schedule that for that week of my life. And then when I am premenstrual and when I am feeling extra emotional, I'm going to give myself a bit more space. Like, a great example for me is like at the moment, Zen's working 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And his second week of his first, 2 weeks away is when I get, when I'm in my premenstrual phase. And this last week for me has been a little bit challenging because I have been extra emotional. I have been, slower, more quickly, all of those things that happen at that phase for me. And I'm also at the end of 2 weeks of solo parenting, so it's like everything's building up. And I guess it's knowing that and figuring out like how can I support myself? Like how can I potentially get my mum to come and hang out with OC for a day, or have someone come over, or how can I bring more slowness or more ease so I have less business stuff to do that week, so I'm not feeling overwhelmed or easily easily triggered into certain ways. And being able to create that instead of just being in that like logical masculine thinking of like, I need to be a robot and I can show up exactly the same way every day, because we're not. We're a woman.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't even think men can show up exactly the same way every day. I think that I don't know, but I feel like they struggle with cycles of emotions too. I just don't know really much about it, but I do know I do know that as a woman, it's definitely obvious. So,
Them, it's more their cycle is lined up with the year. So they kind of wax and wane, like they're slower in winter, they're more vibrant in summer. Like their cycle is a lot more drawn out.
there's more weather
Our moon.
related.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Whereas ours is probably more 4 weekly cyclical, as well as the yearly, I guess. Hello,
Oh, unicorn.
how are
It's Kelly.
you?
How are you, Bubba?
Oh, unicorn. That's amazing. I used to have one like that when I was a kid. It
Whoa.
was a rainbow bright unicorn.
Wow. Are you gonna go have
How's
sleep?
it fun?
Yours has got a rainbow on it too. In
Yeah.
his hair.
What's its name? What's it called?
Does it have a name? What do you call it? Just unicorn.
It's unicorn.
What do you reckon?
It's very cute.
It's a chickie. Oh, Dad has picked up a chicken. You gonna go get it? Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's cute. Oh, I can't. Yeah, we would just get. I'm sure we could talk about hormones for ages, couldn't we?
Yeah, maybe we could do that on our next one.
Yeah, I think it's good. Okay. Well, I didn't have any more questions, unless you wanted to add anything else
Uh,
before we.
yeah, I guess just saying, if you've enjoyed listening to this, if this is something that interests you, follow along at our socials that will be linked. Yeah, feel free to reach out and ask any questions that, you'd want Kelly or some of the coaches to cover in future podcasts. And yeah, the sisterhood, the doors are always open. So if you're ready to shift and create the things that live in your heart, we welcome you with open arms.
Oh, I love that. Thank you very much. Have a good rest of your day then. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed our content, then please subscribe or check out our socials. I've been your host, Kelly Robinson, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Take care, much love, goodbye.